that the masters are these incredible multitaskers. We think that we're talking to them, and well, we are, and they're listening to us, but we think that we're the only one. There may be multiple streams of communication, but we're not quite ready for that.
Welcome to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and this program is about the evolution of our consciousness, especially on a spiritual level, how does spirit evolve at this time of great transformation, amazing revelations. That's why I'm talking today to Reverend Dr. Alison L. James. She's the author of a new book called Merlin's Alchemy, the New Camelot. Thank you, Alison, for being here with us today. And I loved your book as a great overview of the spiritual history and where we're going in the future. So why don't you define the parameters of the book? Like, what do you mean by alchemy? What's happening? What is the new Camelot? And what's our destiny? Is that too much?
Well, hi, Alan. Thank you. Good to be with you. Yes, my journey has been to highlight for humanity where we have been and where we're going. In my first major book, Merlin and the New Camelot, The Birth of Collective Christ Consciousness, I set the stage for the changes that we were seeing that we needed to make. This is both personally and for the collective. I opened up the history of Merlin and who we have thought him to be through mythology. But I was driven to write that first book because I wanted to know the truth. I wanted to know the truth about him, and I wanted to know the truth about where we're going and what are we doing. I have been doing these spiritual studies for many years now. And so I came finally to my latest book, Merlin's Alchemy for the New Camelot, Man's Cosmic Destiny. So that right there in its title tells us that Merlin and the Ascended Masters have plans for us. We're not alone, we're loved, we're supported, and we have all these senses and sensibilities we need to create our future. We might think it's something outside of ourselves, but actually it's all within. And so many spiritual teachers have been telling us this for a long time. So in my title of my new book, Man's Cosmic Destiny, I set forth that we're going to become much more cosmic. We're going to evolve alongside the higher echelons, the higher realms, and we ourselves are going to evolve in a spiritual sense as well as a physical sense. And so we are going to become cosmic, and that's what the book is all about.
Well, first tell us who Merlin is. A lot of the people associate him with King Arthur. Some people say it wasn't really a being, it was an office, like a priesthood of cosmic priesthood. But tell me what you understand Merlin to be, or who he is.
Oh, my favorite question. Merlin is my counterpart, but I didn't encounter him again consciously until 2006. And he opened up a whole world to me, and I became a channel and so on. And as I pursued who he really is, I discovered that, yes, we do associate him as through myth with King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. And yes, he taught a mystery school. It's very active. But we can consider him now, as I have described in the new book, he has a galactic presence. His energies are vast. Yes, he works with alchemy, but he has a lot of focus, like many of the masters, on planet Earth to help people evolve, to help us all become this collective within what we're calling the new Camelot, all for one and one for all. We are still moving towards a um, a greater sense of love, responsibility, peace, all the things we aspire to. They were begun and held in place by Merlin in those Arthurian times. But today, he is working with us from the other side, and he is helping us evolve, to transmute, to raise our vibration, and to help us connect with the cosmos, the universe, in greater ways, so that we will take our place alongside our cosmic brothers and sisters. And when we eventually transition into our next lives. But of course, there's the possibility for many that they will be ascending within their physical form, ascending in consciousness during their lifetime. When we choose that, that's going to help us when we get to the other side, because we'll be working alongside the masters, and we will be helping those who are on planet Earth, the school of the universe, if we like. They and us, we will be working to help humanity evolve so we can take our proper place.
Was he a wizard? Did he come as a kind of awakened being?
So he's had many lifetimes. Of course, they all have, the Ascended Masters. So I discovered that he was the great philosopher who put down so much spiritual understanding for us, and it was Hermes Trismegistus.
Hermes, yeah.
Yes, not the Hermes that you might think of, that we'd only call Hermes, but this is Hermes Trismegistus, who wrote the famous books and has been bringing forth a lot of consciousness. So let me jump to Arthurian times.
Yes.
That was a time in England where, it was pretty brutal. And there were lots of warring factions. At the very same time in China, there were 7 states, and they, as warring as they were unifying into one nation. So when Merlin came forth in the Arthurian times,
What years are we talking about? What year, about what time of
5th and 6th century for Merlin in the Arthurian times.
okay. Okay.
So he so your question was really on point, because when Merlin came in and brought up Arthur, he came in like a Purna avatar, like Sai Baba. He came in with a full consciousness. He didn't have books and a big house and fancy living. It was pretty basic times, but he imbued Arthur with the consciousness that was needed to bring a sense of unification in England. And so that happened down near Tintagel, as you visited.
Oh, so was he was Merlin like already an awakened being when he came here? Was he already
I would say so, yes, definitely. Because he didn't have books. He had the consciousness and he gave it to Arthur so that Arthur could become king and head up this, what we call now a utopian society, where everyone was much more awakened. I won't say fully awakened, but Merlin was teaching in a mystery school and so on. And I know there are probably people listening who will remember their times in that age. And so Merlin was not just a figurehead, but he was someone who brought forth the consciousness, which we're still trying to bring forth now.
Alchemy is the transmutation, not just of course, lead into gold, but humans into a light, into awakening. So, what do you lay out as Merlin's particular essence of alchemy? I mean, you lay out a lot of things in the book, but can you give us a kind of snapshot of the essence and the steps to this transformation, this alchemy that Merlin is bringing?
There are several chapters, well, the whole book really, that describes these. But in essence, the message to humanity is to let go of the past, release negative beliefs once you've identified them, to raise your vibration. And then once you come to that point of clarity, then through various teachings, modalities, healing modalities, and his presence, we are able to connect you to the higher realms. This is an age where it's the mind of God that we are hoping to penetrate as best we can. So we're going to find ways to do that. So there is the alchemy, it's the inner alchemy, and Merlin is wonderful with helping with that, with messages from him personally, so that you can focus your energy and your attention on being more. It's about finding the truth of you. And then also in the book, I talk about how we're going to do that in other ways, which is visiting sacred sites. And that's a big topic, of course, but being aware that we are very connected to the earth and earth energies. We need to marry the earth again. We've been taking it for granted and so on. So there are other things we can do, and one of them is meditating. One of them is study, yes, and the study of other civilizations, specifically the ancient Egyptians and the Maya. They give us very specific lessons so we can open up our consciousness and our thinking so that we can learn to accept that we are so much more than we think we are. And so we're making this very big transition. It's physical, it's our spiritual evolution collectively, it's our own consciousness, our beliefs, and to connect to the spiritual realms where we're going to get so much love, so much assistance, that we are going to become these greater beings of light. And so it's a bit of a package, and it doesn't happen overnight. So someone like me comes along to say, look, we need to take these steps. We need to expand our awareness, and we want to become more, not just for ourselves, but for the collective, for the we consciousness, which ultimately is Christ consciousness. So it's a bit of a,
Yeah, no, I understand. It's a process, yes. But, we're in this moment of acceleration, right? The Earth is
yes.
moving into the Aquarian vibration. So, to lay out a few of the steps that, people watching can apply in their life so the alchemy can start its transformation. That's what I'm interested in.
Yes. Well, I offer something called the Starlight Path, which is on my website. And you can go there and have a look and see some of the modalities that I use. I would say probably the first thing would be to find out where exactly you are. And that's something that Merlin and the masters can do. It's not me telling you, but I'm the messenger who would convey that to you. I offer a number of different healing systems, and I'd like to recommend most highly the rising star. These energies go where they need to go within your being. If you need more physical healing, they'll go there. But if you need to expand and let go of various negative energies, whether they've manifested or they're more in terms of consciousness, this is a system that, in all, it encompasses your entire energetic system. And while it goes through it and helps you clear out, it brings things to the surface. It also, most importantly, helps you hold a higher vibration. Now, why is that important? It's so that as you receive greater and greater awareness, you can hold it, because these higher vibrations require more of you physically. So when you said in the beginning that we have to raise our vibration to become light beings, that's what we're doing. And we can't do that if we're stuck in a lot of negativity.
Right. I like what you said there because awareness, increasing our awareness means we need to be at a higher vibration to hold the awareness.
Yes.
I've never heard it put that way. I think that's a really good point. So, is there like a time frame for this transformation? Is there like it's happening now, but is it necessary everyone gets it now? Look, what's the big picture here for this alchemy?
Oh, the big picture may take a little time. I used to think that when I first encountered Merlin in this lifetime, and we talked about the new Camelot, I thought, oh yes, maybe in 20, 50 years. Oh no, it's going to take a little longer, because we have these pockets of negativity in certain places, and it's going to take time. How much time? I don't have the answer to that. But I can say that the more everyone works on themselves and becomes more responsible for their part in this, it's going to happen quickly. But nonetheless, I have been told that we are on track. And despite how it may seem on the outer plane of all the things that are going on, this is actually a good thing. And why is that a good thing? Because uh, we are witnessing catalysts, people, situations, nature, nations. We are seeing so many things happen, even in our personal lives, that require our attention. We can't ignore, we can't sweep under the rug all the things that are crying out for us to change right now. And that's the point. That's why we all have to become responsible. So how long will this take? I don't know exactly, but I do know, I did read in Dr. J.J. Hurtak's work that he is going to help us with our transition in his own ways and in very high vibrational ways. But I think that, as he said, that certain people will not be allowed to hold back this progression, this climbing, this of consciousness, this expansion, which has to be held by the majority. The masters are working very hard to help us in this process. And I was once asked, well, if the masters are so great and can do all of this, why don't they just come down and do it?
Yes.
Why don't they?
Yes.
It's because, well, firstly, they're not informed. They have transcended the need to be informed, but they remain with us in the earthly realm so that we can transform. And there's a special part of that that we need to be aware of, and that is we're here to do it in physicality. That's why we can't just sweep it away, because when the mass of the collective is holding this higher vibration, then we have a greater proximity to our utopia. But when that's going to happen, I don't know. It depends on how responsive, how responsible, and how desirous people are. I think the world climate is showing us that there are huge swaths of people who want to change things in their world, in their governments, in their nation, and so on. But that is wonderful. But we need to embrace the collective of us. We need to embrace humanity as a whole. We're still a little too tied up with our physical realm, the way we want things to be. It's still a little too me.
Right.
It's not we yet.
Give a specific guideline. I know people should get the book and go through all of it, of course, but can you give us like people watching, a specific steps that someone could take to start to change their vibrational field, let's say? What can they start with? Meditation, yes. What else would you suggest?
I think that a reading with Merlin or one of the masters is going to give you a sense of where you are, what you need to look at. When you look at yourself, then you'll say, okay, I need to heal this issue, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. And as I said, the rising star, I feel, is very important. If you're already deeply entrenched on your path and you've already been doing a lot of this work, there are things like, a galactic healing system. There are certain energies and codes which are going to enable you to raise this vibration and also expand your awareness. It's always difficult to describe energies in words, but the reality is that they do exist. And sometimes it's just something that you are going to have to explore and experience for yourself. I would say it's important for people to know that the path that you need, the energies that you need, are going to be shown to you, however it comes to you, via a message, in a meditation, during a healing session. So everyone's specific path is going to be slightly different.
Well,
And we're very aware of that.
yes, no, thank you for that. Now, is our cosmic destiny then to join with the galactic families? Is that what you're meaning by cosmic destiny? To join with these higher,
Yes,
and
yes.
who are the
And
beings? Are they physical or extraterrestrial, transdimensional? Who would you say?
so it's all of those. We want to align initially with the Ascended Masters because we know that they are working closely with us. Thereafter, expand and move to other beings, other ultra-terrestrial beings, and let me just say, enlightened beings, because these beings form the collective of the cosmos. So we can be working alongside them, but are we equal with them? Well, Merlin would say everyone is equal. But when I say are we equal, I mean, do we hold the same vibration?
Right.
Because once we do, we'll be doing a lot of other things. We're going to be communicating with telepathy, and more people will be channeling. More people will have out-of-body experiences. There will be a plethora of ways that various individuals are going to experience other cosmic levels, other dimensions. So when I say the cosmic path for us, I'm really talking about something that I introduce in the book. In Merlin's Alchemy, we are going to eventually, as we evolve and work with these other beings of light, we're going to be working within what my I don't like to say religious, but my church affiliation as a reverend. This is not a physical church where one sits in a pew on Sundays, but this is an organization where we are working towards the collective, working together on the planet so that we can evolve into cosmocracy.
What is that? Talk about cosmocracy.
On Earth, we have democracy, and this is being fought over right now. This is where we recognize that we're all equal. We are equal as children of God. No one person is better than another. But this is something that one has to realize for oneself. When we evolve spiritually and we connect with these cosmic beings, with the planets and the other dimensions and the higher realms, we are going to enter into a type of democracy with them. And this is cosmocracy. So it's a cosmic democracy. It's not just a physical or an intellectual exercise. It's about evolving with a consciousness that is equal with them. And we're not there yet, but we're learning to be.
So
If we've
we're under
yes.
in a sense, to be part of the cosmocracy. I mean, we have to mature in order to really
Yes.
take in this bigger picture. And where's it all going though? What's the purpose of it all? What's the ultimate destiny of the cosmos?
Ultimate destiny. Well, I think we'll think of ourselves as cosmic brothers and sisters. We won't think of ourselves as being human and having a spiritual experience. We'll realize that we are spiritual beings, we are light beings having an earthly experience. And so when we leave this realm, when we have these understandings in place, then we're going to be uh, able to work alongside them, have a um, a let's say a godly awareness.
Mm, mm.
We're going to find out the truth of who we really are. We say that we are divine beings, yes, but that will not just be something that we intellectualize about. It will be a reality. It will be our experience. And
What
so this is mhm.
how does that look to be divine being? What is that? How does that show up
On
for
Earth, you mean?
us? I mean, what would it be like? I mean, maybe we won't get there, but can you give us an idea of what it is to be a divine being?
Um, to be a divine being, we are going to hold the qualities that we associate with God. In other words, if we want to be more God-like, we're going to have to hold not just a vibration, but the consciousness and the characteristics that we know right now that the ascended masters have. So I look back and think about when we were in Lemurian times, we weren't quite as densified as we are now. We were much more closely allied to the higher realms and to source. And gradually we got further and further into densification. And I think this is all within the divine plan. But now I think it will be the reverse, that we will become less dense physically. Our light vibration, our meridians, our blood, our whole being, I think we will appear perhaps a little more translucent. We won't look, we won't act, and we won't think of ourselves as being just human in a body. And that belief and that awareness that we have here is really what holds us back. It's an obstacle.
Mm.
We think we are what we see, but if you've been through a few of my written works, you will discover that it's not what we see. We see outer manifestations, yes, that's all wonderful, but it's who we are on the inner. And going forward, that inner vibration, our light, our presence, our energies are going to communicate who we really are. It's not going to be our physical form and what you're wearing today. No, it's not about that. We're going to be much more aligned with the higher realms, and we're going to be able to heal a lot of things on the planet. But
No,
that's a conscious decision for us all, you know.
so you're a channel, like you said, so you bring through the energies. I mean, and you bring through the Merlin energy. Do you want to bring through something today as a message to the audience? I mean, open?
I can bring a message. Let me see what Merlin would like to say. He'd like to say welcome to everybody, and don't let go of your faith. Know that your individual lives are so important. I and the masters of the spiritual hierarchy are watching over you. We're not going to tell you what to do, but we may nudge you in the right direction. When you seek to expand your awareness, when you consider that you might like to have a closer walk with me or the other masters, we are here. We can assist you in ways that you may not be consciously aware of. So know that what you are seeking is seeking you. So allow us to penetrate your thinking and to be your guides. It's a conscious choice. It will not happen without your say-so. So know that our love and support is with you, and wherever you might be on your journey, I'm ready to help you transform old energies and transmute into a new being of light. It may come much more quickly than you would imagine, but you have everything you need to make this a reality in your life. So I look forward to speaking with you, hearing from you, and I'm with you. Love and blessings, Master Merlin.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Some really beautiful things in there. And what is it that, how can we ask for help? I mean, just by asking, is there a certain way, method to open yourself up and ask for the higher assistance? What do you recommend for that?
I would suggest that you get in a quiet place and you close your eyes and meditate and just allow yourself to slow down, clear your mind. And then you can focus on what it is you'd like to ask for. You can then connect to your higher self. It's very important. We haven't talked about that, but that's a part of your being, your light being. You have a God presence within you. So we'd like you to connect to that first, gain the awareness, and then petition either out loud or just in your thoughts, and project outwards what your question is, what you'd like to accomplish, and that being, whether it's Merlin or some other guide or angel, is going to help you formulate and move towards where it is you'd like to go and how to get there. Merlin has said to me, like, your wish is our command. And it's true. And what you set your focus on, what you pay attention to, that's where you're going to go. If it's not a focused intention, you might not be taken so seriously. Any of the masters within the hierarchy, the spiritual hierarchy, they've been through this process. And so they're very aware of who we are, what we think, how we operate. And they look for a sense of purpose, a sense of direction. It's not a vague thing. Maybe you don't know all the steps, but you do know what your intention is. And that's what you need to express.
Mm. Thank
You won't necessarily hear or get the answer right away. Perhaps you might. If you're really focused and intent and you've got an open heart, you're going to get what you need. And so it'll happen at some point for you. And I would like to add something here. Because maybe Alan, many of your listeners are more experienced, but there may be those who haven't necessarily communicated with the higher realms. And it's about allowing something. When you're going for a healing session, how much healing will you get? Well, you'll get what you allow. And I have heard stories of people who have been healed from cancer, but they don't hold the consciousness that they were seeking to clear and heal. And so their healing can sort of seep away. So that's why we need a higher vibration. So we set our intention and we hold to a path and to a level of being. And it's not that difficult. Perhaps it sounds far-fetched, but it's really a matter of you intending what you want for you. And you're going to have to get still and quiet and figure that out with your higher self. And that's not difficult either. Just open up your heart and your thinking. And the two are going to work together, your heart and your mind. So it's not without a sense of reality and practicality. Mm-hmm. The love is it's an energy as well as something that we might practice. So it's something that you're going to develop we're going to have to fan the flames of our threefold flame in our hearts. We're going to open up in many ways. And as I say, when we want to be open to receive these different levels of being on a personal level and in a collective, we want to just open our hearts and accept everyone is where they are. We're going to release judgment. We're not going to be attached to any one person or thing. We are just going to open our hearts and connect to the divine.
We're in this age of transformation, and it's a process that we're undergoing. So what does the world look like on the other side of the third dimension, into the fourth and fifth and sixth? How do people live?
Oh, if only I could remember, Alan. Have done it a few times before. I think my vision, my imagination, and imagination is creation, is that we will be in a world of light, tremendous light and colors that we can't even imagine right now. And we will recognize, family members, friends, associates, we'll recognize people by their, I would say, I guess I'd have to call it their translucence, their light presence. Mm-hmm. You know, the masters know us by our light signature. Mm. You think that they see us physically. Yes, they can see us. But actually, I asked this of Merlin years ago, and he said, well, I feel you. In other words, he could feel my vibration. So if he can do that when I'm down here, I know he's going to be able to do that when I'm up there. there's a sense of light. There's a sense of love, which I believe is so incredible. A sense of community. There's a connectivity, especially through Cosmocracy, where we're going to have this experience of being one with other people in ways that, well, we're getting better, but we're not there yet. We still have a lot of judgment about other people, and we need to accept others and love others. And it doesn't mean necessarily that we're going to like everything about them. It means that we accept them through the heart. So I feel that it will be a very beautiful existence where different, we talk about many mansions, don't we, in the Bible, house of many mansions. I think that we will be able to select, or maybe we'll be given the choice at different points in our evolution, where we can be in this reality or that reality. I don't think it's haphazard at all. When we cross over, we'll face the karmic board and we'll review ourselves as to how we did. And I think dependent on how well we did in our lifetimes, we'll be able to move to certain different levels, or we may go back to school, or maybe we'll go to another planet. We'll be given direction according to how well we evolve here. And that's why the message through Merlin's alchemy for the new Camelot and man's cosmic destiny is important, because the more we do here, oh my God, if we just pay a little more attention to ourselves, the spiritual component of us, when we get to the other side, I think it's going to be incredibly easy. I mean, I'll be talking to Merlin and he'll be up on Andromeda, or he'll be wherever he is. And I think we'll all be doing the same thing. But it requires of us that we make the effort to evolve. And I do believe we want to evolve. It just requires a little work and focus. And
it's happening. I think we are all evolving. We're putting out the message. So the final message for Merlin, I mean, what does he really want us to know right now? I mean, through you and through the books, what is, yeah,
do it.
just do it.
Do it.
Do what? Do what? It mean what?
Keep going forward. Keep evolving. Do it. Don't do the things that I've been talking about. Do these things. We can't sit back and be complacent. When we're complacent, history just repeats itself. And it's time for a new story. We have so many old stories, and it's a case of repeat, repeat, repeat. We want to evolve. We want a better world. So let us make it together.
Yes. One more question I had is just how did you come into all this? Were you born aware, or was there like a moment where, the curtain was pulled back and you saw a bigger picture of reality? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I had been through some hard times, as many of us have over our history. And it was actually after a divorce, and I was at a channeling. I had been pursuing my spiritual path quite strongly, working with crystals and all sorts. And I was at a channeling session, and Merlin came through, and this was in 2006, and he revealed to me who I am to him, my path. He revealed some of my history, and as often happens with Merlin, suddenly my world opened up. And that world opening up was a powerful time of transition. Things started happening in a way for me that, because of Merlin and who he is, there was this tremendous acceleration. And whatever had gone on before, I was able to let go and let it be something I'd learned from, and then I could move forward under my own steam. So I had been on the spiritual path, but he didn't come forward until this divorce was over. And as he said to me, free at last, free at last. So that really means that I was free to be me. And I might add here that in the spiritual community, there are a lot of people who are single, who they may have guides, or a lot of people are married, but there are a lot of single people, single folk. And this may seem from a human perspective not to be desirable. But I can tell you that being single has enabled me, as I'm sure has enabled so many others, to spend the time to devote yourself to your path, to your spiritual path, to really think about things, to take steps without a lot of other distractions and responsibilities. In other words, when Merlin came online for me, it was an acceleration point. And that's what will happen for you when you decide that you want to follow that path and you want to work with a master like Merlin and evolve while you're on the planet. You have no idea how your life may take off. You may find yourself doing things that in your conscious mind you didn't know that you would be doing, and that was the case for me. So he came in and a whole world opened up for me. So this can happen for you too. If you want it, you have to choose it. It's not just going to arrive.
So
unless you want.
you chose the path of the spiritual warrior, let's call it that, right?
Yes, exactly.
That's been your task, and these books come through you to share with the world. And what's the best way to get your books? To go to your website or online, Amazon?
Yes, it's both. My website is Alison with one L, AlisonLJames.com. I have these two books here that you can see behind me, but I also have 4 ebooks, which are collections of work throughout my life. So it's quite a library of work that you can read. And one of the books is about crystals. It's a complete guide, how to work with crystals, how to purchase them, and so on. I have another one, which is just channelings from Merlin, which is very helpful because he gives a lot of wisdom and has come through many channelings. A third one is called Articles and Commentaries, and this is a series of things that I have written. Some of them are articles, appeared in magazines and various places, as well as commentaries that I have made as I have worked with certain teachings, and these are very helpful. And then lastly, I have a spiritual anthology, which similarly is covered, or covers, I'm sorry, my spiritual path. And it's a lighter way, and there are some comic surprises. So
I'm interested in too, into that. So your work is taking you around the world these days, isn't it?
one of the things that Merlin has done for me is that wherever I have been, and also here while in America, I have been downloaded with many codes and energies from other places. So I'm a bit of an energetic ambassador as well. I can bring those energies forth, call upon them, and so on. I did co-host a tour in Egypt, and I will probably be doing that again in January of 2026. And I'm marrying a couple. So through this journey, I became a reverend, and that had many original intentions, but is now to assist the collective expansion and dynamic. And I invite people to join that.
Well, that is really great. You know what's so good about you in the sense that this is your life. There's no going back to the other world. This is your focus. This is your sincerity. And so this is how you live moment to moment in this world, in almost this other world, I would say. And
Yes, there was someone who wrote a book about walking in between worlds.
yeah,
Yes, we all do that, by the way. But I think I also walk in two worlds. And there are times when I'm meditating and so on, or speaking with Merlin, or doing some healing, whatever I'm doing, that I transcend that physical. And this is something that happens when you devote yourself, like I have, to this path. It's a bonus. I wouldn't say I leave my body and I know what happens on the other side. Sometimes I might do that. Perhaps when we sleep, we leave our bodies. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. But I think that when you spend the time, I mean, you know, Alan, when you have just written a book,
yes,
making contact,
yes,
that's what it's about.
yes, 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 it
It's
is.
about making contact with divine mind
Yes,
from your heart. Your communication, your telepathy, your thoughts,
mhm,
your remote actions
yeah,
still have power. And so I think we learn to become powerful people. It's not that we are powerful in a negative way. It's that we're proactive with love to create and communicate the world we'd like. You
but
know, I want to just tell you that the masters are these incredible multitaskers. We think that we're talking to them, and well, we are, and they're listening to us, but we think that we're the only one. There may be multiple streams of communication, but we're not quite ready for that. But we can do our own one-on-one. That's the thing we can control right now.
I think that's the point because we are downloading access to that consciousness, but that consciousness is everywhere that everyone can access as well.
Definitely.
Yes,
Yes.
that's good. Thank you. So you have more books coming up soon, don't you? Working on.
Well, I've got tours and I shall be making presentations and doing more workshops. The last book, Merlin's Alchemy, for the new Camelot, it took me about 6 years to write, a little more. It took a long time. That's because the energies and the evolution I went through to produce it needed to be in place. The first book, when I first encountered Merlin and I had to write that book, it came out in under a year. But this latest one is fully loaded, as I hope you will discover.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for
Thank you, Alan.
your dedication to conscious evolution, because that's what your focus is.
Yes, we'll get there.
We're getting there. This is part of it. Alison James, thank you. Thank you for your time.